Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this. A scent drifts through the air, warm and familiar. Maybe it's cinnamon or roasted garlic or something frying in butter. You can't see it yet, but instantly, your mind knows. In a heartbeat, you're not in the present anymore. You're somewhere else. Maybe your grandmother's kitchen, maybe a street vendor from your childhood, maybe a meal shared with someone who no longer sits at your table. Just like that, one whiff, one bite, one taste, and time bends. That's not nostalgia, that's neuroscience. Taste is the only sense wired directly into memory and emotion. When food touches your tongue, it touches your past, your identity, your soul. The first time you ever tasted sweetness, it wasn't just sugar, it was comfort, safety, maybe love. The first salty broth you sipped wasn't just flavor, it was warmth, belonging, protection. Long before you learned language, your brain was storing emotions through taste. Every meal since has been building that internal archive, a living museum of moments, feelings, faces. That's why food memories hit harder than words. They bypass logic and land straight in the limbic system, the emotional heart of the brain. Inside your brain, two regions are at work whenever you eat. The amygdala, which processes emotion, and the hippocampus, which stores long-term memory. They sit right next to the olfactory bulb, where scent is processed, and scent is 80% of taste. That's why smell and flavor can trigger memories more vividly than photographs ever could. The moment your senses pick up a familiar aroma, neurons light up like old friends recognizing each other after years apart. In milliseconds, your body relives the past. Heart rate, warmth, emotion, all replayed in perfect detail. Think about it. That taste of mango under a summer sun. That smell of rain on soil mixed with chai. That bowl of soup someone brought you when you were sick. Your brain didn't just record those moments, it wove them into who you are. Food became a language your emotions could speak before you had words for them. But memory and taste don't just live in the past, they shape the present too. When you crave comfort food, you're not craving calories, you're craving certainty. You're reaching for an emotional echo, a piece of safety stored deep in the neural layers of your past. That's why no healthy alternative ever quite replaces your mother's cooking, because nutrition and nostalgia don't run on the same circuitry. The former fuels the body, the latter feeds the self. Science calls this the Proustian effect, named after the writer Marcel Proust, who described how the taste of a madeleine dipped in tea transported him back to childhood. Researchers have found that these sensory-triggered memories activate the medial temporal lobe, the area tied to autobiographical recall. It's why one bite of food can open a floodgate of emotions, joy, sorrow, belonging, all encoded through chemistry. You're not just remembering, you're re-feeling. Even more fascinating, your food memories actually rewire your brain's perception of taste over time. Each flavor carries emotional metadata. If you grew up eating spicy food surrounded by laughter, your brain pairs heat with happiness. If you once got food poisoning from seafood, your body might reject it forever, not out of logic, but out of protection. This emotional tagging is called flavor learning, and it's why our palates evolve not just with age, but with experience. Every meal writes and rewrites your neural map of pleasure and safety. It's also why cultural foods carry so much identity. The flavors of your homeland, the herbs, the oils, the rituals, are neural fingerprints of belonging. They remind you who you are, even if you've forgotten. Immigrants, when displaced, often recreate ancestral recipes, not just to taste home, but to feel it. Because when geography disappears, flavor becomes the last thread of connection. A single spice, a familiar stew, it's enough to rebuild a sense of self from memory. But there's another layer. How your gut and brain converse through these memories. Inside your intestines lives the enteric nervous system, often called your second brain. When you eat something familiar, this system releases neurotransmitters, serotonin, dopamine, acetylcholine, mirroring the emotions tied to that food. So when you eat your childhood favorite, your gut literally tells your brain, "We're safe now." That's not sentimentality, it's physiology. The comfort you feel from food is real, chemical, measurable. However, this powerful loop can also turn on us. If you've ever stress-eaten or emotionally overeaten, you've felt it, trying to manufacture comfort through sugar or carbs, chasing an emotional imprint that food alone can't replicate. The brain releases dopamine at the anticipation of comfort, but when the food ends and the real comfort doesn't come, guilt replaces satisfaction. It's a biological misunderstanding, the brain searching for a feeling through flavor when what it really needs is rest, connection, peace. That's why mindful eating matters more than ever in the modern world. When you slow down, when you taste, rather than just consume, you awaken those old neural pathways with clarity. You start recognizing which foods are tied to healing and which are tied to habit. Each bite becomes less about filling space and more about remembering who you are. Mindfulness transforms eating from reaction to reflection, from automatic to intimate. And the truth is, every one of us carries a personal food history, an edible autobiography. The flavors that made you, the ones that comforted you, the ones that disappointed you, they all shaped how you connect with yourself and with others. A person who loves to share food often grew up in abundance or warmth. A person who guards it might have known scarcity. The table reveals what words sometimes can't. Even the act of cooking reactivates memory. When you slice garlic, boil rice, or knead dough, you're not just preparing food, you're reenacting gestures passed down through generations. Your hands remember movements your ancestors once made. The smell of browning onions, the hiss of spice in oil, it's the body's way of keeping history alive. Every recipe is a family tree translated into flavor. Neuroscientists have discovered that even imagining the smell or taste of familiar foods activates similar regions in the brain as actually eating them. That means your body can feel a memory before the meal even exists. The craving you feel isn't always hunger. Sometimes it's your nervous system yearning for connection, for meaning, for the emotional coordinates of home. Food is memory, but it's also emotion in motion. It's why the meal that broke your heart tastes different than the one that healed it. The same dish cooked in joy or sorrow will flavor differently because emotion changes perception. Cortisol dulls sweet tastes. Dopamine amplifies them. Your body literally tastes life differently depending on how you feel. So next time you eat, pause. Don't just ask, "Do I like this?" Ask, "What part of me does this remind me of?" The answer will tell you more about yourself than any diet ever could. The beauty of this truth is that you can create new food memories, new associations that heal rather than haunt. If loneliness has always tasted like late-night takeout, you can change that by cooking a simple meal for yourself, slowly, lovingly. If fear tastes like burnt toast from rushed mornings, reclaim it with breakfast eaten in sunlight. The brain is plastic. It can rewrite even the oldest emotional codes through new sensory experiences. Because every time you taste something, you're not just feeding your body, you're feeding your story. You're adding another chapter to who you are. You're reminding your nervous system that life can still be sweet, safe, and whole. Food is more than survival. It's memory, emotion, identity, and communication all at once. It teaches us that to nourish is to remember, and to remember is to stay human. So the next time a scent stops you mid-step, or a bite takes you somewhere you'd forgotten, don't rush it. Stay there. Let it unfold. That's your brain showing you its most sacred trick. Time travel through taste. Savor it, honor it. Let it remind you that who you are is not just written in your mind, but in your senses, in the flavors that built your life, in the meals that built your meaning. Keep tasting, keep remembering, keep becoming. This is Vital Dynasty.